I'd like you to imagine your dream life. See the version of you who has what you want to have, feels how you want to feel, and is who you want to be. I'm Brittany Hoopes, your hypnotherapist and manifestation coach, and this is the show where I'll teach you to master the full power of your mind, to guide you on your journey towards destination manifestation.
Take a step back for the ones who can't do that. Hope I separate from my past.
This is Destination Manifestation, a podcast for you, the ambitious dreamer who wants to blast through your conscious and subconscious blocks and manifest a life of your dreams. I am so happy that you're back, and we have something super special for you today. So if you're already subscribed to the podcast, thank you so much. I appreciate it, and you are in for a treat. And today we're tackling a question that I get all the freaking time, okay? It's a question that really kind of sits at the crux of one of the hardest parts, I would say, of manifestation. And this question surrounds the subject of our ability to trust ourselves, to trust the universe, to trust that our manifestations are coming to us. It's faith and trust time, y'all. And a lot of us got some major trust issues that we got to sort out with the universe, okay? And that's what we're going to do here today. Because for some people, it can feel really hard to trust their dreams, to trust this thing that matters so much to them. Now, they might logically know that giving up their perceived need for control and trusting is going to help their manifestations come in faster or even at all. But they shy away from trusting because it also sort of feels like they're giving up or they're not caring anymore. Have you ever been in that feeling that way? That if you were just to like surrender, and I mean, even the word surrender, think of that. It feels like that is to give up. And yet when we surrender in like a spiritual sense, it means to put yourself into alignment with what has already been created for you. So a lot of times the surrender piece of the trust feels like giving up because that's what we associate with surrendering, or that we feel like we have to not care anymore. And that's nearly impossible because if it's something that we want, we're going to care about it. So it feels like if you're going to trust, you just kind of got to sit there and be all like kumbaya with the universe and just kind of blindly holding out your hands like, I'm here. I'm ready, universe. Turning it all over to the universe, surrendering to the universe. Sometimes it can just feel so beautiful. But the other times, it can just feel like you're free falling and you're banking on a parachute to open for you and you don't know when it's going to happen. And that's scary. So if you've ever struggled with trusting yourself, trusting others, trusting the universe, your manifestations, I want you to steal my strategies, okay? The strategies I'm going to share with you over the next 3 episodes for building up trust. That's right. You might have heard me just say that. Because this is such a hot topic and there's so freaking much to cover here, we're going to do something special. I'm going to do the first series that I've had here on the podcast. I'm going to do a 3-part mini-series here on the podcast, starting right now on trust. And so all the episodes, you'll see them come out bang, 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 one right after the other. So you can binge watch or listen or take them at your own pace. And by the end of the series, you'll learn how to build up your trust muscle so that you can rest assured that your manifestations are coming your way. And not to mention the beautiful relationship you will have developed with yourself and your inner being, with the universe in this process. So to kick off part 1 of this series, I want to give you an immediate trust boost. Are you ready? So let's do this exercise together. Grab a pencil or paper, open the notes app on your phone, or if it's not safe for you to do either of those things, don't put yourself in danger, okay? If you can't do the exercise physically, either just pause this and you can come back to it, or you can just do it sort of mentally in your head as we talk through it, okay? But I want you to think about the thing that you most want to manifest. Okay, do you have that in your mind? The thing that you're in the process of manifesting right now. And I want you to think about all the many different things that impact it. okay? Or the things that play a role in its creation. Things that you do, things that others need to do, things that need to line up. What are some of the possible chain of events that you may think need to happen to line up this manifestation for you, to create this manifestation in your reality? And so just make a list of those things there on your piece of paper or in your app. And let's say that you're wanting, let's just give an example, okay? Let's say that you're wanting to manifest your dream forever home. Okay, this is something I've been lucky enough to manifest here in this lifetime. I want you to think through all the different pieces in that. Maybe you need to decide on a location where that home will be. You need to research and hire a builder or a contractor if you're going to build the home. Work with an architect on the floor plan, or if you want a pre-existing home, find a real estate agent. Maybe you need to choose out the finishes for the cabinets and the flooring and all the fun design details. Maybe you need to secure financing, etc. All these sort of things that add up to you living in that home. Now, here's the thing. The universe ultimately gets to decide the how your dream home will come to fruition, right? You don't get to decide the how. The universe does. But you might have some ideas, inspired if you're aligned, forced if you're not, that feel right to you right now, okay? And so I want you to write those down, your best guess. And now here's the piece that makes this exercise so effective and the piece that a lot of us ignore. So you have your list of potential ways it could come about. And now I want you to go through each item that you just wrote down and honestly reflect on it and ask yourself this single question. Is this directly under my control? And please be honest with yourself. Is this item 100% up to me and me alone? Do I get to determine? And if so, I want you to get clear on exactly what you need to do to move this item forward. And if not, I want you to take this time to identify who or what that thing is up to. So let's take this house example, okay? Deciding on the location of the home, that's 100% up to you. You could choose to build a home in Austin, Texas, like I did, or somewhere else. If your job required you to be in a specific location, you could go find another job in that location. That part is up to you. You get to choose where to live. That doesn't mean that you won't have to make some choices and make some big changes to fulfill that, but you get to choose where you live. But let's say a component like the financing for the house might not be completely up to you, right? The bank might need to decide how much they're willing to lend you and if you're a good bet and at what rate, they'll give you. What is up to you is which bank that you'll choose out of the offers that you get, your ability to go and create more money, your ability to improve your credit score so that you can get a better offer. But the decision of the actual loan, the amount that is offered to you and what the interest rate will be and all those things is not directly and only left up to you. And so even if the thing isn't absolutely up to you, there may be aspects that you could do that could influence it, right? That are up to you. And so any item that's not 100% completely within your direct control, I want you to write down those actions that you can do that can help influence the outcome as well. Now, there may be some things on your list that is not up to your control, and also you have zero influence over them. Okay, there might be some things that are so far out of your control that you just have to leave them up to the universe. God, your higher power, your inner being, source, whatever you call it. It's the greater part of you and all that is. And sometimes it's those things that just feel like, they just feel like chance. They just feel like happenstance. Those things that are so utterly outside your control that you just have to learn to surrender to them. And not in the way that you're giving up and waving a white flag, but that you just recognize what is within your control and just what simply is not. I'm trying to think of this home example. If there's anything when we were manifesting our dream home, if there's anything that we just had to completely surrender control up to the universe. Yes. Okay. Here's a big one. And this happens for a lot of people. Hear me now. The timing. For us, we knew that we wanted to move. We were living in Los Angeles at the time. We knew we wanted to move to Austin, Texas. And so this was this was during COVID, pre-vaccine. I don't know if I'd say the end of COVID, but it was around like October of 2020. Okay. And so we had made a trip out to Austin to look at some neighborhoods, a very socially distanced trip. And we fell in love with this dream neighborhood, guys. It was perfect. It was just it was safe. It was quaint. It had tennis courts and walking paths and a huge amenity center. And it was in the beautiful Texas Hill Country. We just loved it. But it was way out of our price range. And so I remember looking, we toured the model home that they had open in this neighborhood. And I was thinking, man, I remember getting back in our car and I was like, man, I would have loved to live here. This would have been too cool. And then we got back to California after we toured all these different areas in Texas for the week. None of them were as great as that one neighborhood. And we get back to California and we realize, me and my husband realize, we start thinking, we're like, oh, wait. We hadn't considered the impact of not having to pay California state income tax, the impact that would positively have on our finances. That was like a huge bill every month that we'd have to pay that would come out of our paycheck that we wouldn't have to do living in Texas. And so that was going to be a considerable amount of money each year. Once we moved to Texas, we wouldn't have to pay the state of California that we could use for something different. And so we thought, okay, well, what if we put that money towards our house budget? How would that change things? Could we afford that neighborhood now? And sure enough, the numbers, depending on how you looked at them, the numbers worked. We could. And so we went back, we called up that builder. We asked them, do you have any lots left in this neighborhood? Because we wanted to build with a specific builder of our new home. And they had one freaking lot left, okay? And this was during the pandemic, all right? These lots, especially in Austin, Texas, saw a huge boom of people moving there. They were selling like hotcakes. And they needed a % down, to secure it. And I remember, I forget, it was early that week. It was earlier in the week. And we were afraid that if we waited all the way to the weekend, the 5 or 6 days it would take to get to the weekend, by time that we could catch that flight out to Austin, that lot would be gone. And then that would ruin our chances of getting to live in this neighborhood. And so I'm telling you, this is the story of trust. This is a true story. We took the leap. We trusted the universe and maybe this builder sales lady, she was good. And we bought that lot sight unseen. We had never stepped foot on that lot. We saw a few grainy pictures and that was about it. And I'll tell you, looking back at that decision, it felt crazy. It felt crazy in the moment. I literally remember asking myself, am I being so stupid right now? I remember it was my 30th birthday. We were in lockdown and we signed the papers. I physically closed my eyes when we hit the submit button on making the biggest financial decision we had made in our lives. Stephen took a video of me and I just looked terrified, but I was excited. I was like, we're doing this. We're making it happen. And wouldn't you know, we got that last lot. And once they started building on the lot, we found out with the foundation that the house sits up higher than ground level. And they cleared a few select trees, not many. And we have this beautiful view of the Texas Hill Country. I'm not even kidding. We can see for miles outside our back porch over the trees and across the rolling hills. And it's what? We didn't even know this house was on a hill. That's how little we had known about it before we made this decision. This beautiful view we had no clue about because we bought it sight unseen. And so because we started the house in 2020 as opposed to 2021, we caught that last December. By time we end up finished building the house, it was already worth more than we were paying for it. At closing, it was already worth more. We secured a mortgage at the lowest rate in history, and it just worked out so magically. And I tell you this story because I want to give you an example of what sometimes trust looks like. Trust sometimes feels crazy. Now, I'm not telling you to go do stupid stuff that's going to put yourself in danger, but sometimes you don't know the outcome, and that's why it's called trust. Sometimes it doesn't make much logical sense, and yet you still know it to be true. It's about keeping your vision focused on the actual manifestation itself. The house in this case, rather than the how, about how it comes about. Trust me, if I could have picked how this would go, I would have much rather have had it be something that I'd saw before and felt very good about. I would not have picked this how, although it worked out perfectly. Because at the end of the day, the how isn't up to you. There are a million different possibilities of which this dream home could have come to fruition. Okay, we thought about buying a home in San Diego. I'm sure there would have been a whole saga there. We thought about building in a different part of Austin. I'm sure there's a whole different thread of possibilities and time that would have led to a beautiful outcome there. I almost kind of like to think of all these quantum possibilities like beautiful roots in a tree, okay? They just kind of are all squiggling out before us like golden threads that create these meandering shapes like a river, right? And there are so many different timelines and so many different possibilities and so many different routes to our dreams, routes to our destination manifestation. And when we try to control so fiercely, it's basically telling the universe, we can only travel this one route. And it's blocking off all the other millions of potential routes that could bring it to you. Now imagine if you plugged in your destination manifestation into Google Maps, okay? And there were a million different suggested routes that would take you to the same destination, the same thing you want to manifest. But you were only dead set on one of them. Not allowing Google Maps or the universe to sort of reroute you when needed. You were so set on that one route that even when you come up against a road closure, you just kind of do like, you remember that old Sims game where the Sims, whenever they get blocked, they're like, oh, no. Like, do you remember that? And they're just kind of like, That's you when you pick that one route and yet it's blocked and you just kind of throw your hands up and you just sort of stay stuck right there. That's how we are when we try to control the how. So I feel like every podcast episode, I'm sure you guys know this by now, like it's so funny because I won't think of it in the moment when I'm thinking through what I want to share with you guys, but it is always the message that I need to hear too at the same time, right? I feel you guys. There can be some instances where your trust is just really tested. And this whole year, as I've been sharing with you guys, my husband and I, we've been manifesting growing our family. And I'll give you a little bit of an update. We just got some test results that helped explain why this manifestation has been taking its sweet little time. Okay. And we joke sometimes that the spirit of our baby, the energy of our baby that already exists, it's just not in she or he is not in physical form yet. That spirit of our baby is watching over us being like, why don't you guys just adopt me already? Like, what gives? I'm not meant to come into this world through you. I mean, that could be true. That could not be true. We don't know, but we joke about it, right? Won't you give it a rest down there? How many more signs do I need to send you? Because that's what happens when you fixate on one singular how. Follow the path of least resistance, and the universe will reroute you. But in order for you to do that, you have to listen. It's like playing, I've said this before, it's like playing that game of like hotter, colder, warm, warmer, 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 hot, 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 hot. You remember that game as a kid? But the whole time you're walking around blindfolded, but you're screaming at the top of your lungs, being like, where are you? Am I there? Where are you? And you're so loud that you can't even hear the person that's saying, warmer, warmer, hot, 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 hot. Letting go of control is letting go of that screaming in your brain that's blocking out what you need to hear. It's not giving up. In fact, it's the opposite. It's allowing there to be more options for you than the one that you've been hyperfixated on. It opens you up to opportunity. So I want you to take that list that you just created, okay? This is your golden map. Do what you can for the things that are under your control, but let go of the rest. Know that the universe has been assigned to those items. They've been assigned to those pieces of the list. And know that it can feel scary when there is a how that you can't do anything about. You can't make people buy your product or service if you're a business owner. You can't make your boyfriend propose to you. At least that isn't a relationship you'd want to be in. You can't decide the lab results that come back from that doctor's visit. You just can't. You can't grade your own term paper At least I don't think that's how schools are done these days. It's been a while since I've been in school. The numbers aren't directly up to you, but there are things that you may be able to do to help support these things. And that's when we learn how to dance with the universe, even if we aren't the one leading. The more you let go, the more you receive guidance on how to best support your manifestation next. And we actually understand this from a neuroscientific perspective too. When you're so focused on one thing, you often miss the other things that are around you. They exist, but you just don't see them. The instructions that you're sending your brain literally keeps those other options outside of your conscious awareness. And we'll talk about this in future parts of this series, okay? Have you guys ever seen that video? And I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give it away, but it's on YouTube. Have you ever seen the video of the basketball players? Okay, like I said, I don't want to tell you too much about this video because I don't want to ruin it. But if you've seen it, you know what I mean. I'll link to it in the show notes, and I highly urge you to watch it if you want your mind absolutely blown, okay? The premise of this video is quite simple. You just count the number of times these basketball players pass the ball back and forth. That's it. That's what you have to do as you watch the video. And your mind will be focused on that task. And this video proves what happens when you give your brain specific instructions. Okay? And once you watch it, I want you to ask yourself, where in my life and with my manifestations might I be so focused on one specific how that I'm giving my brain just those instructions that I might fail to see other opportunities that are available to me? This is how we loosen up. And when we loosen up and we widen our perspective, our world just gets so much bigger. The universe is like, oh, thank you. You're listening to me. He wants my help. Thank you. Right? And then you receive it. But here's the thing. It's not like the universe was ever holding out on you. Okay? Your manifestation, from the moment you asked for it, it was always there. Boom, created. And through your focus, you were just tuning it out. And trust me, these tuning out abilities, they come in handy. We wouldn't want to take in all stimuli at all times. That would be very overwhelming, right? To be able to tune things out is actually very helpful. Our brains are designed to do this. Our brains are designed to be able to focus on something and tune other things out and to have that discernment, right? I'm recording this episode, and now that I stop, I hear this lawnmower. I hope you guys don't hear it, but I hear a lawnmower, okay? That lawn mowing was happening. My brain was just tuning it out because I was focused on what I'm telling you guys. And hopefully you can tune it out too if you can hear it, okay? Our brains are great at this. And so now it becomes, how can we use this superpower of selective focus and attention to focus on our positive belief in our manifestation and tune out any thought that doesn't support that belief because it's not helpful for us and where we're going and what we want to create. And that's another thing to keep in mind when it comes to building trust. The only thing you need to direct your focus and your trust on is the manifestation itself. If you want to hyperfixate on something, hyperfixate on your belief in that. Funnel all your care and attention into that belief that it is possible and that it's coming. And allow yourself to be easy and trusting that the right how, out of all those millions of possibilities, will be made known to you and you can put your action into them. Rather than putting all your focus into one singular how. Like in my example of what I'm manifesting right now, right? There are a million different ways that my husband and I will have a baby. We could have it naturally. There's IVF, surgery, IUI, surrogacy, adoption. There's like so many different hows. Okay, I don't need to place all my trust in one singular how. I place my trust in the singular knowing that I will be a mother. In fact, I'm already a mother through my spiritual connection with the energy of my children. And soon they will have physical forms as well. So I just let all the many hows, I just let them be. I release control of that part. I follow my intuition and I explore the routes that I'm guided to explore. It doesn't mean that I don't take action. Okay. I'm not the Virgin Mary. Okay. Like, I'm not just going to get pregnant out of nowhere. Like a baby most likely isn't just going to drop from the sky into my womb. That's not how it works. So this is why action is so crucial to manifestation. But you see the difference there? There's no attachment to the specific how. There's only attachment to the specific belief in yourself and the result that you're creating. So take that list, do what is within your control, help support the aspects that are not up to you, but that you can support, and release control of the rest. And take all of that formerly controlling energy and capability, because I know you got it, and funnel it into the belief and positive expectation of your manifestation being yours. So I want to thank you, travelers, for joining us here today on this journey towards destination manifestation. Now remember, this was just part 1 of our 3-part series on building trust. So go ahead and binge part 2 and 3 as they become available, or save them for a treat later, but we'll dive more into this concept of trust and how to strengthen it in our next episode. And if you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to the podcast so that you can get part 2 and 3 delivered right to you. And if you've enjoyed this episode and if you've learned something interesting about letting go of control and what it truly means to trust the universe, you can help others by spreading the message and tagging me on social media when you share the show. I love when I see you guys sharing your favorite moments from the show, or maybe you're taking a selfie when you're on your walk or you're at the gym. Tag me because I love to know what resonated with you. I love it too when my one-on-one hypnotherapy and coaching clients, they do this too when they had a really breakthrough session, and it just really makes my heart sing. I love to know what's resonating. It's very similar to when we were doing the Spotify Wrapped at the end of last year. Can you believe 2023 is already over? And it was just incredible to see you guys seeing that your top podcast was this show. And I just really, really appreciate it. So be sure to keep them coming. Also, during this series, I want to take a moment to thank and acknowledge some of the folks who have taken their time to write some beautiful reviews for the show. Okay, it can really help spread the word. Along with social media, it can help spread the word so that others can discover this work and can change their lives too. And so I just want to give a special thank you to a recent review from CoolWedge5929. And it says, very inspiring. I'm loving this podcast. Learning so much about manifestation and to hear it from Brittany's perspective is great. Brittany is so great at getting you to understand. I highly recommend listening to this podcast if you want to expand your horizons. Thank you. I hope your horizons are expanded today, and we got 2 more parts to expand them even further. All music for this podcast is by A Cubed. And remember, your possibilities expand the moment you let go of trying to control that which was never under your control to begin with. I'll see you next time.
I don't know